Just call 911 is a top anti-gun argument when it comes to the possibility of someone finding themselves face-to-face with a criminal. Of course, as we have covered on this channel before, that's not always a possibility. Either because the victim has already been shot, like the 85-year-old woman who bled out on her floor for 10 hours that I told you all about last week, or because places like Pittsburgh are restricting access to 911 services on purpose. But last week, residents in 4 states found themselves unable to contact the police at all because of a widespread outage. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have yet another story about residents finally finding themselves without an option to call 911 despite all of the left's platitudes. The other option is a pretty obvious one, though it's not an option that every state or anti-gunners want folks to be able to access. Because somehow in their utopia where nothing bad would ever happen without guns, that also seems to include things like never having outages of cell phone service or emergency services. And before I get into all of that, I also want to announce that my channel is participating in a huge giveaway, but more details on that in a bit. For now, let's just dive right in. Just call 911, they say. And yet last Wednesday, the entire state of South Dakota experienced an outage where the entire state was without 911 services. Parts of Nevada, Texas, and Nebraska found themselves in the same boat. What caused it? Well, the funny thing is we don't know. How long were services out? We also can't be entirely sure. Officials didn't announce that services were restored until late on Wednesday and didn't tell anyone what happened. Some of the departments didn't even tell people that services were down. Sometime around 11 p.m., officials in South Dakota and Las Vegas said that 911 services had been restored, but they did not say what caused the crucial emergency infrastructure to fail. Right there. The Department of Transportation's Office of Emergency Medical Services, which houses the National 911 program, wouldn't comment. Neither did the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or the Department of Homeland Security, which has recently warned about cyber attacks being able to disrupt digital 911 systems. You know, 4 states suddenly don't have 911 and the 4 government agencies involved won't tell anyone anything. That's not concerning at all. During the outages, news outlets ran statements from officials telling folks to text their emergencies. So old people that don't know how to text would have found themselves in quite the pickle, as would anyone that, say, gets dragged away from their phone screaming. Police departments in Del Rio, Texas also announced the outage and alternative texting messages and a couple phone numbers on Facebook. So if you don't have Facebook... But other departments in Texas that were affected didn't tell anyone at all. Alright folks, before I get into the rest of the details on this one, I promised a giveaway in the intro, so here it is. I am launching a huge giveaway thanks to Vanish Holsters. We are giving one of you this $80,000 custom Rocky Ridge Silverado for free to one lucky American who buys one of their holsters or t-shirts through June 3rd. Now, folks, we have talked about Vanish Holsters on the channel before, and that is because this is not your average range day holster. It is designed to eliminate all those excuses holding you back from carrying daily. They have 2 size options to fit anyone from a 68-inch waist down to my little itty-bitty size 2, and most important, it won't print. Now this is my favorite holster for playdates, hikes, or any other time I might be chasing the toddler because it is lightweight and discreet and it stays put. Now if that doesn't sell you, this holster fits 99% of semi-auto handguns, offers versatile carrying positions, and conceals 2 fully loaded magazines. Plus it comes with an unconditional guarantee that it will be the most comfortable holster you've ever worn or your money back. Now, to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is click my link in the description and get yourself the most comfortable holster you have ever worn. Again, money back guarantee, and Vanish is hooking you up. They are knocking $50 off the retail price for anyone who buys using my special link below, plus extra entries to win that Silverado. So again, get an exclusive discount and extra entries when you use my link down below. And remember, this giveaway ends June 3rd. What's also interesting is that different departments and different states are saying different things. Some claim it was only an issue with mobile phones, while others say it was only an issue with landlines. Some say it only affected those with one cell phone carrier, while others say it was across the board. Other departments said that the issue was getting a busy signal no matter what you called on. And yet officials claim that police response times weren't affected, which is hard to believe considering folks weren't even able to get through in some places, and officials didn't put out any official statement until an hour or more after the start of the outages. At least the folks who did say anything. At least in Sioux Falls, police claimed they were able to use caller ID to call people back and address their emergencies, but not all departments had access to caller ID data because of however they were affected. This is also not the first time this has happened. There have been times when cell phone carriers went down and people weren't able to call 911, which is wild considering 911 is supposed to be the one number you can call even when you don't have service, but at least offered the explanation of there being an issue with cell phone towers. Now, in February, AT&T experienced an outage that affected 1.7 million people and impacted 911 services in California, North Carolina, and Texas. They said the issue was a human error made when expanding their network and not due to a cyber attack. So they gave an explanation. Last year, residents in Virginia also lost their 911 services for a few hours. In 2020, another 7 states were left without 911, and the company providing the service didn't tell anyone it was happening. Obviously, it was found out, and the communications company and 3 others were taken to court and settled for millions of dollars in civil penalties. In 2014, 11 million people across 7 states lost their access to 911 services. Washington state was dark for 8 hours, where over 4,500 calls went unanswered. According to the FCC, that was due to a software error. But again, at least we had an explanation. And folks in Nebraska experienced outages again in August, September, and November last year, all allegedly from someone accidentally cutting a couple cables. It was such an ordeal that 2 new bills were introduced in the state legislature to force public hearings whenever this happens and to try and tighten the ship, rightfully recognizing it as a public safety issue. Now, this last outage lasted for anywhere between 90 minutes to over 3 hours, depending on the state and the department, which in some areas is the longest outage they've ever had. The comments, at least on the Washington Post article I found, would have you believe the issue was caused by Trump. Somehow. Or that it was perfectly okay because some of the states affected have high rates of gun ownership, and so they'll be fine and just shoot each other to death. Caring individuals. The one more logical explanation we've gotten is from Lumen, South Dakota's 911 communications provider. Now, as far as I could find, the only outlet reporting this explanation is the Nebraska Examiner. And according to that outlet, Lumen claims the outage was caused by a company installing a light pole in Kansas City, Missouri. They said the issue was caused by a third party, but didn't offer any information on who, how, or why a simple light pole in Missouri affected 911 services in 4 other states across the country. Now, I am not a cell phone provider, so I don't know how that works. Maybe that is indeed some logical connection. I don't know. If you are a cell phone provider person, electrician, pole technician, whatever, let us know down in the comments if you think that's legit. Now, Lumen has a $36 million contract with South Dakota, but has experienced outages from all kinds of things, including cut fiber optic cables, which makes a lot more sense, at times leaving folks without access to 911 for 10 hours. Again, your tax dollars at work, my friends. Either way, what it comes down to is a clear indicator that the Just Call 911 solution is not necessarily a good, reliable, or permanent solution. If someone is breaking into your house, they're not going to stop and wait for the 3 to 10 hours until 911 services are available to come help you. Nor is it technically 911's job to stop a crime in progress. Law enforcement, 1, does not have a duty to protect, as I have discussed multiple times on this channel, and 2, their purpose is to investigate and enforce the law after the crime has been committed. So the best thing you can do is prepare yourself for the what-ifs. Things like first aid training and CPR might help with some medical emergencies, but in the case of being a victim of a crime, well, folks, that is where the Second Amendment comes in. When it comes to your own personal safety, you cannot and should not rely on a third party to intervene when there is no guarantee there will be one available. So next time you see or hear someone making that argument that you can just call 911 because the police exist, let them know that in some places, 911 doesn't always exist. That is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring that notification bell. And again, leave a comment if you, I don't know, have some insight into these cell phone, mobile service issues, these 911 service issues. If, you know what, if in fact a light pole in Missouri can affect 911 in Nebraska. I'm curious because, like I said, I have no idea how this stuff works. It's just a little weird that there's one newspaper reporting that. It's a little strange. Anyways, that is it for this video. As always, thanks for tuning in and happy shooting.